Hey everyone, Yang Yanjiao here. I found this very interesting to me video on the BBC's website about D&D. It's about, is D&D inclusive or not inclusive? I thought we'd take a look together and discuss. Alright guys, this lady claims to be an avid D&D player, won all her life. Let's listen to what she has to say.
No offense, but Dungeons & Dragons isn't just for nerds anymore.
So just from the beginning, I'd like to point out that D&D actually started as a family game. It was a family game where people would come together and share stories and play in adventure lands and whatnot. Not for nerds anymore. Dungeons & Dragons became a nerd thing, not by choice. That's not who it was advertised to. That's not necessarily who they wanted their audience to be. It ended up being a game played by people who, well, frankly, just weren't that popular in general. People who perhaps weren't so interested in sports, weren't so interested in other activities, and they got together in game. It was looked down on by other people after it was demonized in the media, by church members. So what you're talking about is, in modern day parlance, a group of people, a marginalized minority, who wanted a safe space for themselves. A place where they could go and people wouldn't harass them. And that's what Dungeons & Dragons became when I was young in the 80s and well into the 90s. If you played D&D, you didn't talk about it. It was almost like those Jesus fishes people used to draw in Rome. Like you draw a little fish symbol on the ground to let other people know you were a Christian. And if they responded to it, awesome. If not, you just quickly brushed it away. That's how D&D was for most people for my childhood. Maybe you would get some indication you were interested in playing, but you sure as hell wouldn't come out and say it, because then people would make fun of you forever and you get wedgies and swirlies. Nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted to eat lunch alone. You didn't want to eat next to the stinky kid, and God forbid you were the stinky kid. So let's get back to this lady.
It's not just for a bunch of beardy boys in a basement. It's for everybody and anybody.
Beardy Boys in a basement. I assume that is British polite racism for men. Beardy Boys in a basement. Okay, that is interesting. So what you're seeing is, who has beards? Do 13, 14-year-olds have beards? No. So she's talking about the group of people who were marginalized, who grew up and still enjoy playing D&D. Nice, lady. Nice. It's for everyone. Yeah, obviously it's for everyone. There was no mention on the back of the box, only to be played by white men over 40. That never happened. Let's read on.
It's so social. The most social game you have to play, in fact. All you need is a few friends and a dungeon master or game master to kind of run the game and tell you your story. It's this wonderful escapism from real life, like acting or writing, but you're doing it as a group. And it can be really good for people with anxiety, socializing issues, and mobility issues to kind of play somebody else and experiment with their personality.
Hey, who would have anxiety and social issues? Beardy Boys, maybe? Maybe there's a reason there was an attraction. And yes, it is one of the most social games that you can play, although I would put Twister slightly ahead, because at least in D&D you're not touching people. Let's watch more.
It's got its problems, like most games, to be honest, with diversity and inclusion, but there's groups out there working on it.
Okay, hang on. This is the biggest lie, and this is the problem I have with blonde-haired land whales like this lady. Diversity has absolutely never been a problem for Dungeons & Dragons. What is Dungeons & Dragons? Dungeons & Dragons is just a framework so adults can play make-believe with other adults, right? As an adult, oh, I'm going to swing my sword at you to my office mate, and my office mate will say, oh, but I got a shield, it blocked. How do you resolve that? Well, you got dice. Okay, hey, sword guy, roll to hit. Shield guy, what's your AC? And then you can determine it. That's all it is. It's just a system of guidelines. When you're talking about diversity, you're playing fantasy races. You're playing halflings. They have half elephant, half human races. They have bird people, snake people, cat people, dog people. How much more diverse can you possibly get? And there's teams working on it. What could you do? What could you do in game to make it more diverse? Now, some people would say, oh, well, it's the settings. It's all based on a European medieval fantasy. Okay, well, the rules are the rules. The guidelines are the guidelines. Just make your own setting. I've done Asian campaigns. They were fun as heck. In the 90s, there were all sorts of modules. There was an Arabian module. They had ninja stuff, Japanese modules. They had Chinese. They had Aztec. They had different African. Heck, Chult. Tomb of Annihilation, one of the greatest expansions ever for D&D. It's all based on African culture with the occasional, like giants and stuff thrown in. Where are you missing diversity? Are you blind? Are you actively avoiding it? The only other thing I can think of is with her constant mentioning of Beardy Boys, maybe she's talking about the makeup of the people you play with. Well, lady, that is 100% you and how racist you are. My crew that I play with, we look like a discount Benetton ad. Okay? The only way we could get more diverse in our world is if we added like a transsexual Eskimo. The group that you play with is 100% in your control. You can decide who you want to play with and who you don't want to play with. And frankly, if the group you found is just a bunch of Beardy Boys, cool. Go online. Go on Reddit. They have Looking for Group all the time on Reddit. They have Adventure League. Go do Adventure League. If you, let's say, it's very funny because one of the guys I play with now, he didn't pick me for a group a couple years ago because the dude is gay and he wanted to have an all LGBT game. And you know what? Good for him. If that's the group he wanted to play with, that's the group he should play with. But now he's in our group. To my knowledge, he's the only gay person in there. But it's fine. It's not a big deal because we're playing a different kind of game. We're not playing one that centers around LGBT themes. Great. Anything you want, you can make it. That's the whole point of D&D. But if you're having problems with the makeup of your group, go online, Roll20, my friend. They've got a lot of different games open. A lot of people looking for players. Be your own GM. Make your own. You get to choose. You get to curate your own group. How do you need other people to work on it? This is your own failing. This is a laziness of moral character. This is someone who said, oh, I see something wrong. And instead of working on it yourself to fix a problem, you decide somebody else needs to come in and fix it for you. Forget that, man. It's your responsibility to play a game, to make the game fun, right? It's not your DM's responsibility. It's not other players' responsibility. It's your responsibility to do the best to make the game fun for yourself and as much as you can for other people. If it's not working for you, if it's not working for them, okay, man, just go to another game. It's very simple. So let's watch a little bit more of this lady.
There's teams out there working on it, and like even the creators are working on it. It's what's made most of my friends in life. My first game master I met through D&D, my best friend, like basically all of my friends, and my partner Charlie.
I actually agree more or less with this point. D&D is great. I have close relationships with a lot of the people I play with. My group and I that I currently play with, we go out, and we see movies, barbecues, different kinds of things. Because you really get to know people on a very deeper personal level. The only thing I'm a little concerned is, why do all the friends in your life come from D&D? Like, don't you have a job? You don't get along with anybody at work? You don't hang out at the gym? You don't have other hobbies? That is slightly concerning to me.
Dungeons & Dragons isn't just for nerds. And to be honest, it never has been. That's my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. It's not just for nerds. And it never has been just for nerds. There are quite a lot of nerds who play D&D. And that's totally cool. They're fun to play D&D with. So, sorry to rant. I don't generally like getting political and that kind of stuff on the channel, but for God's sakes, if there is something wrong, work yourself to change it. Make it better for yourself. Make it better for others. Don't go crying around about how other people need to change something. The creators of D&D don't need to change a darn thing. Other DMs don't need to change something. If something doesn't work for you, change it yourself. And if the change you make is good, other people will see it, and they'll want to make those changes too. All right. Sorry about this video. It's just kind of stuck in my craw. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. What do you think? Does D&D need to be changed to add more diversity? And if you want to hear more, let me know. Leave a comment down below. And if you can, click subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks a lot, guys.